Unlock your Mastermind step-by-step critical thinking guide. We live in a world saturated with information. Every day, a torrent of news, opinions, and data comes crashing down on us. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose with a teaspoon. How do we make sense of it all? How do we separate fact from fiction, signal from noise? That's where critical thinking comes in. It's not just about being skeptical or cynical, it's about engaging with the world in a thoughtful, analytical way. It's about asking the right questions, challenging assumptions, and demanding evidence. In this video, we're going to embark on a journey to unlock your inner mastermind. We'll explore the fundamental principles of critical thinking, equip you with practical tools, and empower you to navigate the complexities of the 21st century with confidence and clarity. Get ready to flex those mental muscles. You know, when we explore the cosmos, we don't just accept things at face value. We question, we hypothesize, we test, we observe. That's the scientific method in action, and it's also the essence of critical thinking. It's about applying the same rigor and skepticism to everyday life, to the information we encounter, to the decisions we make. Now, critical thinking isn't about being a cynic or a contrarian just for the sake of it. It's not about tearing things down. It's about building a more accurate, nuanced understanding of the world around us. Think of it like this. Imagine you're a detective at a crime scene. You don't just jump to conclusions based on the first thing you see. You gather evidence, you interview witnesses, you consider different possibilities, you apply logic and reasoning to piece together what really happened. That's what critical thinking helps us do. It helps us become better detectives in our own lives. It helps us cut through the noise, identify biases, and make more informed decisions. In a world awash in misinformation, conspiracy theories, and manipulative marketing, critical thinking isn't just a nice-to-have skill, it's an essential life skill. It's the foundation of a rational and discerning mind. Think about it. Every day we're bombarded with messages trying to influence our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. From news headlines to social media posts to advertisements, we're constantly being sold something. Without critical thinking, we become passive consumers of information, susceptible to manipulation and propaganda. We're more likely to make decisions based on fear, emotion, or blind faith, rather than logic and evidence. But with critical thinking, we become active participants in our own understanding of the world. We're able to evaluate information objectively, identify biases, and form our own well-reasoned conclusions. It's like having a built-in BS detector, a mental firewall that protects us from intellectual viruses. And the best part is, critical thinking is a skill that can be learned and developed with practice. So, whether you're evaluating a political argument, deciding on a major purchase, or simply trying to make sense of a complex issue, critical thinking empowers you to navigate the world with greater confidence and clarity. It's about asking yourself, what's the evidence? What are the assumptions? Are there alternative explanations? Am I being objective? By asking these questions, we start to peel back the layers of complexity, to see beyond the surface, to understand the underlying mechanisms at play. Critical thinking helps us become more discerning consumers of information, more thoughtful decision makers, and more effective communicators. It's about not accepting things blindly, but rather engaging with the world in a curious, skeptical, and analytical way. And that, my friends, is a superpower worth cultivating. So, how do we actually cultivate this critical thinking superpower? Well, like any skill worth mastering, it takes practice, dedication, and a willingness to challenge our own assumptions. The first step is simple: question everything. Don't just accept information at face value, especially in this age of instant news and social media echo chambers. Channel your inner 4-year-old and ask why. Why is this presented this way? What's the source? Who benefits from me thinking this? Next, we have to confront our own biases. We all have them, these mental shortcuts our brains use to process information quickly. But sometimes these shortcuts lead to errors in judgment. By becoming aware of our biases, we can start to mitigate their influence on our thinking. Now let's talk about evidence. In the court of critical thinking, evidence is king. We need to evaluate the quality of the information we encounter. Is it based on solid research, verifiable facts, or just hearsay and conjecture? Is the source credible and reliable? Remember, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, but critical thinking isn't just about being a skeptic, it's also about being open-minded. It's about considering different perspectives, even those we might initially disagree with. By stepping outside our own echo chambers and engaging with diverse viewpoints, we broaden our understanding and challenge our own assumptions. And speaking of assumptions, it's crucial to identify the underlying assumptions that shape our thinking and the arguments we encounter. What are the unspoken beliefs that underpin this claim? Are those assumptions valid, or are they based on flawed logic or incomplete information? Now let's talk about logic and reasoning. These are the tools we use to construct sound arguments and to identify fallacies in reasoning. By understanding the basic principles of logic, we can become more persuasive communicators and more discerning consumers of information. Remember, critical thinking is an ongoing process, not a destination. It's about constantly questioning, evaluating, and refining our understanding of the world. And the more we practice, the better we become at it. Think of it like training for a marathon. You don't just wake up one day and run 26.2 miles. You start with short distances, gradually increasing your endurance and stamina over time. The same goes for critical thinking. Start by applying these steps to small, everyday situations. Analyze a news article, evaluate an advertisement, or engage in a thoughtful discussion with a friend. As you gain confidence, you can tackle more complex issues, dissect political speeches, or even write your own persuasive essays. The key is to make critical thinking a habit, a natural part of how you approach the world. And remember, it's okay to change your mind when presented with new evidence or a compelling argument. In fact, that's a sign of intellectual growth and humility. So, embrace the challenge, be patient with yourself, and enjoy the journey of becoming a more critical and discerning thinker. The world needs your sharp mind. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, Neil, but how do I actually use critical thinking in my everyday life? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because critical thinking isn't just some abstract concept reserved for academics and intellectuals. It's a practical tool that can enhance every aspect of our lives. Let's start with something we all encounter daily, the news. In today's fragmented media landscape, it's more important than ever to be discerning consumers of information. Don't just rely on headlines or social media feeds. Seek out diverse sources, consider their biases, and look for evidence-based reporting. And speaking of persuasion, let's talk about advertising. Advertisers are masters at appealing to our emotions, desires, and insecurities. By applying critical thinking, we can see through the hype, identify manipulative tactics, and make more informed purchasing decisions. But critical thinking isn't just about analyzing external information, it's also about examining our own thoughts and beliefs. When faced with a personal problem or decision, don't just react emotionally. Take a step back, analyze the situation objectively, consider different perspectives, and weigh the potential consequences of your actions. And when engaging in discussions or debates, strive to be a critical thinker, not a critical person. Listen actively to opposing viewpoints, ask clarifying questions, and present your own arguments with logic and evidence, rather than resorting to personal attacks or emotional appeals. Remember, critical thinking is a journey, not a destination. It's a lifelong pursuit of knowledge, understanding, and intellectual growth. And the more you practice, the more ingrained it becomes in your daily life. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, it might feel awkward and unfamiliar, but with consistent practice, it becomes more natural and fluent. So challenge yourself to incorporate critical thinking into your everyday routine. Analyze a movie, evaluate a political speech, or have a thoughtful conversation with a friend. The more you use it, the sharper your critical thinking skills become, and the better equipped you'll be to navigate the complexities of the world around you. Remember, critical thinking is not about being right or wrong. It's about thinking clearly, logically, and effectively. It's about being open to new ideas, challenging your own assumptions, and seeking evidence-based conclusions. So, embrace the power of critical thinking, and watch as it transforms your life, from the everyday decisions you make to the way you interact with the world. It's a journey worth taking, and the rewards are immeasurable. Now go out there and unleash your inner critical thinker. The world needs your sharp mind and discerning judgment. So, are you ready to unlock your critical thinking potential and navigate the world with greater clarity and confidence? I have no doubt that you can. Remember, developing critical thinking is a journey, not a race. Start by incorporating these steps into your daily life. One thought, one question, one decision at a time. And don't be afraid to challenge yourself, to engage with different perspectives, and to keep learning and growing. Because in a world saturated with information, critical thinking is our most valuable tool for separating fact from fiction. for making sound judgments, and for shaping a brighter future. So, keep those minds sharp, stay curious, and never stop questioning. And as always, keep looking up.